Get your Mezco 112 collectives at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hey, howdy, hey there, collectors. It's Steven here, and I'm bringing you another Mezco 112 collective review. I already did Michael Myers, so we're going to go ahead and keep with that horror theme and review Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, Part 3. Some of you don't know this, but this was actually my first 112 collective figure, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. It was enough, anyway, for me to seek out at least a couple of others. So, Mezco 112, does it lend well to horror? Well, Mezco does have a history with some horror properties, doing other things in different lines, so, yep, they brought horror to 112 Collective. And is it executed rather well? Well, I do have to say, I like to affectionately call this one the Toku Jason, and we are going to see why in this review. So let's take a look to see whether or not he's worth adding into your collection. One of the general critiques that I have for the Mezco 112 collective figures, specifically the horror figures that I'm talking about here, is that they do look good, but they generally look clean. If you're going to refer to any of the slashers that they're going to release, they don't really capture the dirty, almost grungy look that they're going to have. Freddy, Michael, even Pennywise, not quite there, and Jason does match this. That doesn't mean that they don't look good, it's just that you would expect someone who's been trolling around Camp Crystal Lake not to look very, I don't know, almost professional. I mean, it doesn't look like his clothes need to go in the wash. So, it doesn't necessarily capture the overall feel or look of Jason, but the overall quality of what they were able to present here is definitely very, very good. Now, outside of that, the sculpt and paint application for what we have here does look great as well. So taking a closer look at the figure, because we do have a 360 spin view here, we can definitely appreciate some of the finer details like the mask. It looks great, and on their first shot at this, they were able to make sure that the eye holes were great, chevrons look good, and then once we go ahead and remove the mask, the head sculpt, I would have to say, is a rather fair representation of the Part 3 Jason. Overall, pretty good. And especially with that, you know, they can reuse parts since these are cloth figures. You're not really supposed to see what's going on underneath, so they don't have to make unique parts all the time, but he does have those very broad shoulders. Very impressive traps. Very, very nice. It does look like they made some new parts here. And then we can actually take a look at his torso, which is, again, going to be cloth goods. He is going to have pockets, little buttons there. The stitching is of nice quality. I don't really feel like we're going to have loose threads that will tear off over time, so good there. His forearms are going to be unique parts that do look a little dirty, but not really. And his hands look just fine as well. His pants, they went with the brown option, which, that's fair. As some of you may or may not know, there's some debate whether or not he's wearing blue or brown pants. C'est la vie. Go ahead and talk about it in the comments. So, those look fine as well. And then when we take a look at the boots, some of you may not know this, but if you hike up his pants, you can actually see that the boots go a little bit up to his shins, which is pretty cool. Oh, by the way, if you lift up his shirt a little bit, you are going to see, he's not only got an undershirt, but he has a belt as well. So again, he may look clean, doesn't necessarily capture the overall feel of a slasher or someone who's been trolling around in a camp, a bog monster essentially, but they did go the extra mile to make sure he looks good. So like I said, Jason's articulation is pretty sweet. Let's just go ahead and get right to it. So the head plugs into the neck on effectively a ball joint, and we get some great range of movement. He can't really look up too far, but that's okay. I mean, that's far enough. Looking down about that far, side to side. I mean, he could spin his head around just good enough. He can even cock his head, so if you want to do a Michael Myers type thing, you can do that just fine. There is no neck articulation where it plugs into the body, so you're going to have to fiddle around with that, with other joints to get him to look around, but it is what it is. So we are effectively going to have ball joints here to move his arm around, but do take note that because of his shirt, it is going to be limited in movement. I don't know, maybe that's just going to be a swivel, but yeah, c'est la vie. Hinge to raise and lower his arm, about that far. We are going to have a dedicated bicep swivel, and if you move his shirt up enough, you can see that we are going to have double hinged elbows. Now, something that 112 collective figures have, which is not really all that great, sometimes in the box they will come with, let's say, the bicep swivel turned and the wrists looking fine, as in turn like that, and you're thinking, oh, the elbow is not moving, and then breaking, whereas the elbow is actually facing that direction for the joint, not this way. So when you get Jason, which that actually happened to me, be careful when you're moving the joints around. Wrists, we're going to have a swivel and a hinge, and then a peg plugs into the hand, so a swivel there as well. We are going to have a ball-jointed ab crunch, which is really nice. Once again, shirt kind of hinders that, but it's not really that big of a deal. We are going to have a ball-jointed waist as well. For hips, we are going to have a swivel and hinge movement there. Pants do block the articulation just a little bit, but not really all that much. Full effective range. We are going to have thigh swivels, which is good. It does appear that we do have a double hinge knee, which is great. We do have a boot swivel. That's right, the boot does swivel in and of itself, which is good. And then we do have really effective ball-jointed ankles for superb movement. So I'm not really sure if we do have ball joints in the shoulders or if those are just going to be swivels and hinges there that move those around. But yeah, Jason here. Let's see if we can get him in a fun pose. Jason moves really, really well. And then, as you'll see in the accessories, we do get a support stand. Yeah, this figure is great for articulation. I really like it. Good. Accessories time, and wow, Jason does come with a lot. He's going to come with alternate hand parts, which will include splayed hands, an extra splayed hand for the right hand, and a hand for the spear gun, the whatever you would call that gun. He's going to come with an alternate head part and an alternate mask. He's going to come with a variety of weapons, and he's going to come with a display stand and a baggie to keep all of your accessories in. Pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at the alternate head parts where we can see there is that mask, which is battle damaged. Pretty cool. We have a little bit of a blood stain there. And then once we go ahead and remove the mask, we can see the battle damaged head sculpt, which is a little bit different than the default head sculpt. Pretty cool. Once again, we do have the blood stain there, and we have that nice crease in there. So this way we can put the axe in there just fine, no issues there. Now for the weapons, which we're going to take a closer look at, we do get an axe, we get the meat cleaver, we get a knife, we get a wrench, and we get a machete. We do also get the pitchfork, fireplace poker, and we get the spear gun. Yay! Pretty dang cool. Now the majority of these weapons are going to be battle damaged right out the gate. They are going to have blood on them, so if you're a fan of the more so clean weapons that Jason may or may not use, well, unfortunately, you're not going to get this here. Now, of note, this is going to have a 5-prong pitchfork, which some of you may ask, why am I pointing that out? Well, if you caught my NECA Part 3 Jason review, which you should absolutely do, you would see why I'm pointing this out. In the movie, Jason has a 5-prong pitchfork when he's going to kill the character Loco. However, once he goes to stab Loco, it turns into a 4-prong one. I don't know, it's just cool to say. So is it accurate? Yes and no. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and do a montage here of different shots of the accessories, pretty cool, and then different hand parts that Jason's going to be using. So it's kind of a mix and match here because there are so many accessories. I mean, I could really give each one its own spotlight, but that would kind of be boring because if you really, really wanted me to, you know, I've written super long papers over essentially dumb stuff, so I could do a review over each accessory if you wanted me to, and this is essentially filler to make sure I have enough time to talk about them all. So yeah, the weapons that Jason gets, they are pretty dang cool. Now, we do also get that support stand that Jason comes with, and that is going to have the Friday the 13th logo on it. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, it fits the character. Now, this is really neat because it does have a peg in it, which is really supportive to Jason and his body weight. This was actually used in all of the shots of the accessories to help him get those super duper poses. So yes, there's a peg on it that goes into one of Jason's boots, and you can remove that peg so this way you can use the support stand, so this way you can have Jason in all sorts of fun poses in the air. So yeah, pretty dang neat. And then there's, of course, that little baggie you can put accessories in, but I just keep the boxes and put all the accessories in there, so I never really use those bags. So going ahead on to a wrap up here, Jason comes with all the accessories you could effectively need. He comes with alternate hand parts, an array of weapons. He's got a nice arsenal, and we have a support stand. So realistically speaking, we got everything we could pretty much need here. But if you do feel like you need more, I do have what I call an ultimate display video to help you identify some other accessories you may want to have for your Jason Voorhees display. If you're watching on YouTube, there should be a card popping up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now we'll go ahead on to a size comparison, so this way you can see just how big Jason is. And I actually did the math on this one and compared to the actor for this particular Jason, who I found was about 6'2". This is almost perfectly 1/12 scale. Yes, almost perfect. So that's pretty cool. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Yeah, I do have to say that this is pretty dang cool. I am glad that I bought it. You know, good articulation, but MSRP is $80, and I don't really feel like this is an $80 figure, which I did not get it for $80. I'm not going to say how much I got it for because I got a good deal on it. So if you can find it for a good price, absolutely jump on this. But $80, yeah, that's pretty steep. This is a very fun figure, and for those of you who are teeter-tottering between this and maybe the NECA, I do have a figure fight to help you out. Maybe check that out before you purchase it. But if you're a Mezco collector and you like Jason, congrats. This is going to be something that, if you're familiar with 112 Collective, it's kind of like riding a bike. Sort of. There's no bikes for Jason. I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying. Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for STR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.